In the small town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, people thought Ed Gein was harmless, quiet, even polite. But behind the doors of his lonely farmhouse, politeness turned to pure horror. When police entered his home, they uncovered a scene so disturbing, it changed American crime forever. This is the story of Ed Gein, the quiet man next door, whose obsession with his mother turned an ordinary farmhouse into one of the most terrifying crime scenes in American history. Plainfield, Wisconsin. A farming town so small that everyone knew everyone else. The kind of place where doors stayed unlocked and gossip spread faster than the wind. But in November 1957, that peace was shattered forever. It began when Bernice Wardens, the local hardware store owner, disappeared in broad daylight. Her son, Frank Wardens, a deputy sheriff, returned that evening to find the store empty, the cash register open, and a single receipt on the counter. The name on that receipt was Ed Gein. Ed Gein was a quiet, soft-spoken handyman who lived alone on a rundown farm outside town. People said he was odd but harmless. He babysat for neighbors, fixed fences, and never raised his voice. But they also said he never got over losing his mother. Ed was born in 1906. His childhood was ruled by fear and faith. His father, an alcoholic. His mother, Augusta, a woman obsessed with sin and punishment. She taught Ed that women were the root of all evil, and that the world was doomed by its wickedness. She isolated him from everyone, allowing no friends, no laughter, no love. To Ed, she was the voice of God. And when she died, his world collapsed. He sealed her room like a tomb, every piece of furniture left untouched. He lived in the kitchen, surrounded by decay. The rest of the house became a shrine to her memory. In the years that followed, Ed spent his nights in the local graveyards. He read the obituaries, studied the burials, and when the moon was high, he dug up freshly buried women who reminded him of Augusta. He told police later, "I wanted to bring her back, or at least feel close to her again." But what he did with those bodies was beyond anything the human mind could comprehend. Inside that farmhouse, he began crafting things no one should ever see. Masks made of human faces, chairs and lamps covered in skin, a belt sewn together from human nipples, a suit stitched from flesh. Ed Gein was building his own version of family, a home filled with silence and ghosts he could touch. When Bernice Wardens vanished, the sheriff gathered a small team and drove to the Gein farm. The air was freezing, the ground hard with frost. The old farmhouse sat in darkness, its windows boarded like blind eyes. Inside, the stench hit them first. Rotten iron and something worse. In the shed behind the house, they found Bernice Wardens' body, hanging upside down, decapitated, and gutted like a deer. Inside the home, they found masks of human skin, skulls turned into bowls, a refrigerator filled with organs, and in a box under his bed, the face of another missing woman. When they arrested Ed, he didn't fight. He spoke calmly, almost politely, as if he didn't understand why they were upset. Over days of questioning, he admitted to 2 murders and to robbing graves for years. He claimed he wore the skin of women to become his mother, to feel her presence again. Doctors found him legally insane. He spent the rest of his life in a mental institution. Quiet, compliant, gardening by day, and smiling to the nurses who had no idea what his hands had once done. He died in 1984, and the farmhouse that held his horrors was burned to ashes soon after. Some say by angry townspeople, others by fate itself. Yet Ed Gein's legacy lived on. His story inspired Norman Bates in Psycho, Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs. Three of cinema's darkest monsters, all born from one lonely man, in one silent farmhouse, in Plainfield, Wisconsin. They say monsters are born from hate, but sometimes they're made from love twisted into something unrecognizable. Ed Gein didn't want to destroy. He wanted to keep what he'd lost forever. And in doing so, he turned death into devotion, and his home to hell. This is True Crime Casebook. Real stories, dark truths, hidden motives. Subscribe for the crimes the world tried to forget.